Today I want to talk about living with roommates as an adult post college. Funny enough, outside of junior year of college, I actually have never lived with roommates. I was an RA, sophomore, senior year, wasn't a freshman dorm, freshman year, so always lived in a hall. And then junior year, we lived in this giant house with five other people. So it wasn't until my second year of being an adult that I lived with an actual roommate. Long story short, living with roommates has its pros and cons. Mostly pros, at least for an extrovert like me, for someone that needs people like me, and for people that can't afford to live alone in a city like New York where a studio apartment is 4,000 bajillion dollars. Being with roommates, number one, by far, the ability to have someone by your side or have someone within the space that you kind of live in is very positive, especially in a lonely city. When you enter in, it's kind of nice having someone there, or at least being present. Right now, both my roommates are out of town for Christmas season, and I'm alone in this giant 3-bedroom house, which is why I'm able to yell like this out loud, making this video without feeling embarrassed. Presence is a good thing. On the flip side, presence is not a good thing if you're someone that had a stressful day, comes home and sees someone that is not you on your couch and you just instantly get pissed off. I've had that. I'm sure my roommates have had that. There's a feeling that you get that's really hard to describe where someone else is in your space even though you know that it is equally their space. You need roommates also if you can't afford to live alone. Let's say living alone is a priority of yours. You're super introverted. You need your own space. You don't like having to clean after others, but you can't pay the rent that you need to live alone. You're gonna have to live with roommates. It's largely also a practicality thing. It's also cool if you don't have that much stuff, and I'm becoming very honest now because this falls for me. I don't really have furniture. I don't really have cookingware, but I have roommates that are one, loaded with that kind of stuff, and two, willing to share that kind of stuff / don't care. In that manner, also great. But that's also where a majority of the conflicts come from. There are some people that said they are willing to share, and then once people start using their stuff, they don't like it. For full disclaimer, in the low chance that my two roommates are watching this video, they are not one of those people. My roommates have been super cool and have actually been somewhat unbelievably sharing, so I am worried about my future roommate situation. But in short, if you live with roommates, make sure that you determine what is okay and what is not very early on. On that specific note, and I think this is quite important to address, the topic of bringing other people into the house, bringing significant others into the house, having friends over, perhaps for many nights in the house, also something you need to discuss / know about before becoming roommates. Of course, it's very hard to predict these things as significant others come and go in your life. Some friends might be surprisingly visiting, but I think one thing that really gets on people's nerves, I personally don't care, is when your roommate brings more roommates into the picture as the days go on, especially if it becomes a regular thing or almost a normalized thing. I think that's the biggest issue that I have seen cause roommate breakups or roommate conflicts. This comes all full circle. It's the idea of invading space and what is the extent of space that you believe is yours versus a commonly shared space. And it doesn't have to be a physical space. It's also mind space and also just the presence of someone else or even you coming in and out of something that you think belongs to you as opposed to them versus all of you. Also comes with the idea of mess. Some people are okay with clutter, but not with being gross. Some people are somewhat okay with being gross, but not with clutter. I don't really understand the latter, but I've seen it happen. I think that's why it's important to visit people's houses before you become roommates with them to get a sense of how they live, what their space smells like, looks like, how they keep it. Please actually go check that because I've seen horror stories of people who are very well put together in real life outside their home, but their house is a dumpster fire that is just waiting to be lit. This topic brings a very interesting thought experiment where your best friend in real life might not be your best roommate candidate just because you guys get along socially, whether it be during conversations, perhaps at parties, whether you are at the same workspace, does not automatically qualify them to be a good roommate. And in fact, I would say everyone that I know personally in my life, the people that I'm the closest with in my life, wouldn't make great roommates. Specifically because I am someone, obviously, who's someone that enjoys presence of others and needs people as an extreme extrovert. Weirdly enough, when I'm in my own house, I kind of need this space to myself. And of course, I get lonely and I somewhat get very sad when I'm alone, but I only use the space largely to sleep, record videos, and work. All three things which I need to be alone for, which makes me somewhat of an ideal roommate candidate because I don't invade in your space and I stick in my room most of the time. But for some people, perhaps not the best roommate because maybe they want me in the common area, sitting on the couch, having conversations with them. That's all to say, it's very important to recognize these things early on. Of course, there's no perfect roommate, just like there's no perfect friend and there's no perfect significant other. But I think it's important to have a relatively high standard / high bar going into finding a roommate because it's something that will continuously load up, continuously build on, snowball effect day after day. And you don't want to end up hating your roommate, especially if it's someone that has you in their personal life. If you are roommating someone that's already your friend, you don't want to ruin that by doing something that's preventable, which is not rooming with them, knowing that these are issues. One other thing that I just thought about is you need to think about what is important for them, what is important for you, so that this complaining does not happen over the long run. For example, some people require washer and dryer in their unit, which is very hard to come by in New York. Whereas me, I also care about it a lot. So that aligns well. But let's say someone doesn't want to share the bathroom, whereas I'm okay sharing the bathroom. And you end up choosing a place that does share the bathroom. And then after a month or so, continuously you hear this person complaining, why do we have to share the bathroom? You're not keeping your stuff at the bathroom clean. I thought we decided blah, 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 blah. Prevent that by making sure that your hard no's are hard no's and hard yeses are hard yes. This is also inevitable and quite obvious, but try to find people that have already roommated. Some people think that it's going to be a great idea, even though they've never roommated before, but jump into this and recognize that living together with someone sucks. I think it's really important to room date people that already have roommate experience so that they know what they're going into. Some cheap advice, probably snarky advice or sneaky advice that I feel kind of guilty giving is roommate with people that go out of town a lot, especially if you want some time to yourself. Both my roommates tend to be out a lot. It works great right now. They're both gone for 2 weeks. I have this entire place to myself. I would also say that roommates that are willing to understand these things, quite important. I tell my roommates, hey, I need my room to myself. I need this common space to myself. Roommates that you could communicate very clearly to and say, yo, this is messy. Yo, this is dirty. Can you clean this? People that won't get their feelings hurt by the actual utility-based conversations that roommates may have within a space. And then, this is going to be the most obvious thing, but make sure you find roommates that are going to stick around and be able to pay these things, especially in New York. You don't want someone that's flaky and then you have to find a sublet. It's a whole nightmare. Couple last minute tips as we end the video. I would say make sure you designate common room or shared items in the beginning or make clear rules for how to split them at the end. Me and my roommates did that very well about who owns what and doing an auction for the ones that we paid for together. If you're going into a roommate situation, make sure that you're aware of their future plans so that they don't blindside you 2 days before, making you have to find a new place last minute. And then lastly, just have a good time. I think it's one of those things where you'll never be able to do this after you get married because you have a permanent roommate after that. So enjoy the time, find cool people to live with. Also know that your roommates don't have to be your best friend and your best friends don't have to be your roommate. I took this time to do this because I'm actually parting with my roommates starting next month. One of them actually has been my roommate for my entire adult career. Mike, thank you so much for living with me. I think that roommates are a great opportunity to learn about yourself and learn about others, learn about living with others. I hope that my next roommate, whoever it may be, likes living with me. And I also look forward to getting the chance to live alone at some point in New York City. Thanks for watching the video. I hope that you guys are having fun in your roommate journeys. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.